6, and we just had our break for the afternoon or the evening. We were here since 2 o'clock, so we've done most of our municipal business. Now we're going to do the planning items that are on the agenda tonight. And as this meeting is being recorded, I will say that all members of council are here with the exception of Councillor Boulanger, who is away. We have our CAO and we have our office manager with us this evening and the planner from the RRPD office. So with that, I will read a resolution that we now sit or resume the regular meeting of council. So if I could bring that forward, please.
Resolved that as per section 152(4) of the Municipal Act, Council of the Municipality of St. Clovis does now resume sitting a regular meeting.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strang seconds. Discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. So before we start our planning hearings for this evening, I'm going to ask Kayla if she could review the the rules of our public hearings. So go ahead, Kayla, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Council wishes to thank you for taking an interest in what is happening in your municipalities by attending this evening. The purpose of these public hearings is to receive representations from the applicant as well as any persons who also wish to make these representations on what is being proposed. We will hear first from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make representation. This will start with anyone who would like to speak in favor of the proposal, followed by those who are opposed to or object to the proposal. At the end of these other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. Outside the council chamber, you will find sign-in sheets for tonight's public hearing applications. If anyone intends to make a presentation for any of the hearings scheduled, including the applicants, please record the necessary contact information on the appropriate sign-in sheet. If you have not signed in, please do so now in order to have the opportunity to speak to council. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into a debate. At your opportunity to speak, please begin by stating your full name and address for the record. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when the other presentations are finished. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kayla. Okay, the first item we have on our agenda this evening is a variation order 133 of 2024. And if I could have a resolution to move into variation board.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 133 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. I'm now going to turn it over to our planner, too noisy. Okay. You can close one, but maybe you can just ask them to go around the corner or speak a little more quietly. Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, Valentina.
You go ahead, Valentina. It's all yours.
Thank you. So, good evening to everybody. It's not morning, definitely, but it's some start for me, that's why. It's like a new day, working day, and thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a variance application in number 133, 2024, involved a property on 78012 St. Peters Road, and purpose of that application is to increase the maximum number of accessory structure allowed, reduce the front yard setback for an accessory structure, and bring a legal non-conforming garage into conformance by reducing the permitted front yard setback in suburban residential zone. So as you can see, the allowed accessory number for that zone is 2 and proposed 3. Front yard footage is 50 and they proposing 5.25 feet. and a side yard for the principal building, allowed only 15, and they asking for 0. And here we can see an allocation map of the property and applicant site plan. Here we can see that actually the house, I can even tell is a majority of this, the house is on the neighbor land. And shed and garage that we're talking about as the hot tub is on their property land. So for your information, the requested variance covering existing shed, garage, hot tub, and the principal dwelling. The garage was existing, then the current property owner bought the property while the shed and hot tub were both added. While the distance between the hot tub and the house is shown is 3.12 feet on the side plan, which is below. Of the 10 feet minimum separation distance between accessory structure and principal building, section 3.2.3.1 in the San Clemente zoning law excludes the hot tubs. So we're not going to talk about that separation distance because the hot tub is not included. It should be noted that current house is encroaching on the adjacent property, and garage is adhering to the front yard property line. As the memorandum indicates that front yard setbacks for the garage is supposed to be 5.25, and the house completely encroaches the adjacent property. So that's why it's 0 instead of anything. And they're trying to bring it into conformance. So the conditions for the approval, should council wish to approve this application, they are standard, that this variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new variances, and by applicant, owner to obtain all the required permits from us if required, and RM2. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is all for the piece.
Thank you very much, Valentina. Any questions from members of council to the planner? Not seeing any hands be raised. Is the applicant in the audience this evening? Okay, the applicant is not here. I see Mr. Choquette is in the audience this evening. Did you want to come forward and speak to this application, Jamie?
Absolutely, if I can.
You sure can, because the applicant is not here, so now I can hear whoever wishes to speak.
Good evening, council. Mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to come and voice my concerns with this variance proposal. As you can see from the drawings on the board ahead, or the screen above you, the side encroachment is my concern because it does encroach onto my property. The existing dwelling, there is a caveat that allows for the house to be there. The additional, if you will, dwelling or sorry, building, accessory building, has recently been added. I've had many conversations with this individual over the number of years as to what he can and cannot do. I'm not sure that there was a clear understanding on his part when he even purchased the property about the existing caveat and what that would entail. So all I'm asking is that council give consideration to this proposal in enforcing that side lot limits be adhered to. At some point, the residents will be vacated on that caveat. I don't know when that will be because the caveat allows for that structure to exist in its entirety until such time it's either demolished or abandoned. There are a few other, if you will, conditions that will or can affect that caveat. I don't know if the applicant had ever shared that with the planning board. I do know that when I went and spoke with the planning board, because I had spoken with the individual about what he was doing, he had assured me that he had spoken with the planning board and had already actually obtained building permits for everything that he was doing. when I spoke to the individuals at the planning board, they didn't even have an application on file for such, so I know that that was after the fact, and that includes not only the accessory building, but some of the renovations that he did to the house. So, like I said, all I'm asking council is to consider that by granting a variance, they're allowing this individual to, for lack of a better way of putting it, do what he may, and then ask for forgiveness after. Like I said, I did make it clear to the individual he had to, clear everything with the planning board, and I don't believe that he did his due diligence in doing his homework prior to, so. I do have a photocopy of a survey from 1999 that shows the extent of which the house encroaches onto the property. Like I said, there's a caveat there, and it exists. The caveat allows for, I believe it's 35-foot of frontage and 100-foot of depth, where the individuals who own the residence have unrestricted access and egress. But again, to do any sort of major alterations or anything like that, the planning board would, I'm sure, want that to be rectified before they would allow any sort of additions and that sort of stuff. And I would think that this auxiliary structure that he's put up, which without having an actual survey done, I'm going to say it's probably, if it's not right on the property line, it's very, very close to it. So that's all I would like to say.
Okay, I'm just gonna see if council has any questions for you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything that they would like to, I guess, ask Jamie or confirm with Jamie? Okay, your property's to the south of this property?
Sorry, north.
North?
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
I failed to follow the protocols you laid out. My bad. A little bit nervous here.
That's
So,
okay.
full name, Gerard James Choquette. I reside at 78022 St. Peter's Road.
Okay,
So my property is on the north side of that.
on the north side of this property?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Sutherland.
And how much does this house encroach on your property?
Corner of the wall is 26.05 feet. The corner of the eave is 27.19 feet. And like I said, this was there. It was there when I purchased the house. This house, and I don't know exactly when the house itself was built. Best guess 30s, 40s, I would think. The property that I own was sold. The individual who owned that house owned this property as well. It was split off. The house was built in '74, and shortly thereafter is when they found, when they were doing the survey, before the house was built, is when they found out there was that encroachment. So, like I said, the caveat is there. Mr. Kazian was furnished with paperwork, I'm sure, when he purchased the house. Like I said, it is, like I said, it's 27, based on the survey that I've got from Isaac and Denchek. I want to say, I think 1999, I believe, 2000, yeah, September of 1999. The maximum encroachment 26.05 feet and 27.15 feet to the wall and to the eave.
So their building is on your title, on your property?
I would say about 80% of the house is on my property.
It's right here.
That's why there's a caveat.
Yeah, and that's
No, I
what,
realize
yeah,
that, but,
yeah, and like I said, it's, understandably that,
so how does that work for the taxes?
as far as I know, it does nothing for my taxes, and I'm sure it does nothing for his.
No, but I mean, that title.
Well, like I said, this was all registered through land titles back in the
Okay.
70s, right? So,
Yeah.
and like I said, as far as I know, I don't get a tax break, and I don't think he pays any additional taxes.
The caveat regulates it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah.
So the map's on the screen.
Okay, yeah,
So there's your property, you're talking, this is the house, right?
that's the house there, so my property
And this is their garage
that is their garage,
And the
yes,
shed.
and a shed.
and the shed, yeah.
And
so my
where's
property-
the addition, or where's the additional building he's building?
It's between the trees.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not gonna see it, it's directly south of the house.
Exactly where your house is, yeah.
Okay, right there.
A little bit further towards the street, and probably a little bit further down, but
Yeah.
Around here.
a little bit further ahead, yeah, because what you're seeing there in between the trees would be the peak of the roof.
Yeah.
So it's a four-sided, it's four, so yeah, right about where you're
The whole house on your property.
pretty close. It's about 80%, because there is a little piece that sticks out on the south side there.
And a
Where-
half.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
There's some other outbuildings that were there on his property or whatever. Did he build those
no,
after the fact?
the house and the garage have been there for as long as I can remember, and I mean that as growing up in the area.
Yeah,
The shed that is behind the garage, he had brought in a few years back. It's one of those, it's Horizon or whatever, one of those 10 by 14 or something like that sheds. It's on skids. I know it's a wood structure. It's like one of the Horizon, like what you see
yeah.
at the.
So he could move it any time, that shed.
The shed that's behind the garage, he can. The structure in question, when I first talked to him, because he had put the patio doors in and he had the hot tub set up, he told me he was building a pergola over the hot tub. And it wasn't until I saw him framing the walls in that I kind of wondered, because the last I checked, pergolas don't have walls with windows and doors. And that's when I started asking questions of Mr. Kazian, and he said it was all good. He had checked with the planning board, and that he had building permits in place for it all. And when I asked him about the placement, he had said, planning board was good, it was all good, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I have to add something for that. We should stop working order on November 4th, 2024. I can see what exactly was to stop for, but some work's been stopped there.
So
We
inspection
have no
was made
building
and
permits issued out of the recent 10 years, nothing, no building permits.
Okay, thanks for that, Jamie. I see there are a couple of other people, and I know that they haven't signed in, but they will have an opportunity to speak if they so wish.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, oh, sorry, Dave.
Just couldn't quite get, did I hear there was a stop work order on
Yes,
that?
planning board issued a stop work order in November of last year.
Yeah.
And after that stop work order, did he keep building? Or no? Was he?
to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. Like, it was
Okay.
after I spoke with the planning board that I know that it was issued. I don't know exactly when it was, so I don't know if he continued building after or not, or if he had finished prior to that stop work order.
Okay, thank you.
So I do not know that.
Okay, I'm just gonna check if there's anybody else who wishes to speak. and then
Thank you
we'll
very much,
move
folks.
forward. Yeah. Okay, did either of you gentlemen want to speak on this application?
I can add something to the file, actually.
Okay, if you want to just come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, council. My name is Nicholas Daly. My address is 82106 St. Peter's Road. Just excuse my bad hair here for a minute. The rest of my team up. I can say that back in, it would have been almost 2016, my wife and I nearly had purchased his neighbor's property, the one that we're speaking about tonight. It was fully disclosed to us by the realtor at the time that there was a caveat on the property and that we would not be allowed to build any additions or add anything to the property. Just to lend to the case, in case the current owner of the property is trying to say that he wasn't aware, we purchased it from, well, almost purchased it from, the realtor was Matt Evans, and he was aware of all these caveats at the time, so that's all I have to add.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? No, you're good, okay. I guess if there are no other questions for the planner, the applicant is not here, so what is the wish of council?
You know, sure, I'm gonna go through this variance.
Say that again.
We wouldn't want to approve anything. Well, go ahead.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Get ahead of myself.
Go
So
ahead,
just,
Councillor Spicer.
just to be clear, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, the issue of the residence itself is not an issue, because the caveat covers that and makes it legal. So what we're really dealing with here is the garage that was built in 1944, a shed that was brought in didn't have a permit, but could be moved. And now the hot tub enclosed pergola,
Yes.
basically is that's what we're dealing with in this variance.
Can I comment?
Go right ahead, please.
I think what you're dealing with is a new construction that was done illegally, which then raised the question about the shed and the pergola. Because they're only allowed 2 accessory structures, that would have turned it into 3. So they were given a stop work order for not getting the appropriate permit, so that means they got a immediate stop work order. Then it was realized that they needed variances, so they needed to get the variances. On top of that, they have added it, the person has added it in the wrong place. So council doesn't have to necessarily grant the variances or grant whatever council wishes.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
But if we look at the map, the front yard accessory building has been there since 1944, correct? Because that's the garage. That's the variance we're talking about. Correct?
I think
The
the
garage-
variance, go ahead, Deepa.
The front yard variance is for a garage that was built in 1944. If I'm looking at this map correctly.
Okay,
Right?
I'm gonna confer with the planner
We have no building permits
for
for
that
nothing of
either.
those. It might be in some archives of RM that we cannot see because anything after 1992 is hidden from us.
Right.
So if that may be some permits, but not that we're aware of.
Why
So
don't we
they-
ask the neighbor the question?
I think the neighbor said that it was existing, but he can add, like, as
How
long as he
long
can
do you
remember.
remember the garage being in the front yard?
The garage has always been there, and I don't think that,
Okay,
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you want me to approach the podium?
No, that's fine.
The variance that they're looking for is because he's added a 3rd building, which puts him above.
Yeah.
Because he's in violation with that 3rd building, and the auxiliary building that goes over the hot tub is within 15 feet of the side lot line, which is where they're requesting to go to 0. I
okay.
believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, to bring everything into legal, that's what the variance for the front setback is. And I'll be 100% honest, I have no issues with number of buildings or garage setback. The only thing I questioned was the new structure that covers the hot tub within the 15 feet of the property line.
So if I understand this, Valentina, it's that the garage that was built in 1944 wasn't an issue because it had non-conforming rights.
Yeah.
Making
Until
it
the
legal now.
making, but now that they added in the 3rd building,
Yeah.
they've changed. Now they have to conform to everything, the non-conforming right disappears.
Okay, so is council, oh, go ahead, Councillor Horbis.
So, the issue here is that, the hot tub or the addition there, that's what you really don't want anymore there. Is that right, or
That is my concern, just because it encroaches on my property.
it's on your property?
Well, I can't say for sure that it's on the property, it is
It's
very,
on-
very
it's-
close.
No,
It's,
the hot tub is on his.
it's on his property?
No, it's not on his.
Oh, it's not, it's right on the
It's
property line.
right, very, 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 very close to the property line.
It's just 0, almost,
Zero,
no, I
okay.
don't think, just.
And in order to put that into compliance,
Front yard, yeah, it is, so it's 0, in order to put it in compliance, we have to go on variance,
yeah, he would need a variance.
yeah.
And that's, he's asking
It is
for
a
the
structure.
other building that
Yeah.
never had one.
Yeah. Sue, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, just from a planning perspective, I was gonna ask answer some of Scott's question. I'm fine, thank you. This is in my neighborhood. I can concur, I had a garage that was right on the road as well. I destroyed it. These are my neighbors, and I have nothing to say about the application itself.
So is council ready to deal with the application? Okay, I do have one question for the planner. If council chooses to disallow this variation, what are the ramifications for the owner of the property?
We will have to talk with enforcement officers if there are any other issues that they apply to them or any other thing, but for now, it's just, it will stand as it is.
And if council chose to approve it with some conditions, and one of them being that he gets all his permits and everything, what happens if he doesn't comply with that?
Certainly we'll give him time for that,
Right.
and it will take time, and afterwards will be violation others, will be enforcement.
Okay, go ahead, Deepak.
And council can also approve in part.
Yeah, it might be proof partial,
Okay,
So council could
whatever
make,
you,
sorry, go ahead, finish.
whichever, whatever just you wish to.
Yeah, so if council wish, they could legalize the garage and say that the third accessory structure is not allowed, as an example. They could say that the other two are allowed or that's not allowed. Those are all the different options available. So you could approve it partial as opposed to denying it outright. If you deny it outright, then you're going back through the whole process again, and they'll have to make another application because, and they'll be coming back to ask for the exact same thing because he can't move the garage. It's been there since 1944. So he's lost his, now I understand this correctly, he's lost his non-conforming right, so he can't gain it back.
Kind of, yeah, because it's
So-
three accessory structures.
Yeah,
instead
so
of
once
two.
he introduced the third accessory structure, he's given up that non-conforming right, so that you can't just say, oh,
Yeah.
I'll take the third accessory structure away, oh, I got my non-conforming right again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm just,
exactly.
I want to verify
There's
so
no way
council
that,
understands.
unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
So what council could do is at least allow partial if you wanted to. I'm not telling you what to do at all.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor
It is an option.
Spicer.
We approve the variance, including the hot tub without a building on top of it?
for sure.
That's another option. You can have his hot tub, but you can't put anything on top of it.
I don't,
Councillor Porteous, and then I'll go over to the other side.
Is the hot tub, like the deck that comes out in the hot tub, that deck must be on the property line already with the building? Is it, or, like, if we just approve the hot tub, will you have the 15 feet there or not?
No, it is
No.
attached to the house,
Yeah.
that's
So,
why it's zero.
the other way is like Deepak was saying, we approve the garage, and then do you put that in there that he has to move that deck in that hot tub, or how, if he doesn't
Well, if
comply
the-
again, where are we?
No, if the hot tub is already there, he's applying for a third accessory structure. The hot tub is not seen as a structure.
It is a structure.
It's an addition.
Yeah, I'm showing it as a structure.
Did he build that hot tub after the fact, or that was already there?
The hot tub was recently added, and to be honest with you, like, I don't know if a hot tub itself counts as a structure, and I may be wrong, but, where he's got it, there used to be, he's removed a piece of the deck to level, and make a solid foundation to put the hot tub on. That deck was, there was a deck on that side of the house. Again, it's been there probably, and it may have been repaired over the years, because it is a wood structure, but again, it's been there as long as I can remember.
Yeah, so it's my hot tub, or was my hot tub. Now, I'm just gonna talk about planning and the regulations in regards to this matter. Again, I'm not saying for or against anything against the neighbor, and I can't. the hot tub and the shack is not attached. There's 3 feet in between the hot tub building and the house. The property line does go right through the house, in which is on Jamie's property. I'll agree with that. It would take a survey in order to see where that property line is, in order to say, no, it's not 3 feet, or it's 4 feet, or whatever it is. So there could be some more investigation in regards to providing a survey that can show where that line goes through the house and confirm it with the tolerance of what you're talking about. But yes, there is 3 feet in between the hot tub building, and she is right. A hot tub in our zoning bylaw is considered a structure. It's considered. I've looked up the definition and it is considered. So all in all, you just have to take into consideration it is not attached. It is 3 feet away from the structure, the house structure itself.
So what's the side yard requirements for the hot tub structure?
Any accessory structures.
By 15 feet.
15
It's
feet,
supposed to be 15.
so it's
That's
never
why
gonna
we
reach
asked
15
for
feet.
0.
even if you did the survey.
Yeah,
No,
It's never gonna
No.
be 15
it's
feet.
not gonna.
no,
Not in current location.
no.
And your request is to respect the 15 feet?
With the structure, yeah, I didn't realize that a hot tub was considered a structure. That is news that I'm learning right now myself, but, like I said, it's just the actual building itself.
So your concern is the building itself and not the hot tub itself?
Exactly, and like I said, I didn't realize that the hot tub was considered a structure. So, I mean, that,
If the hot, sorry for interrupting.
yeah, no, absolutely.
So to answer maybe Councillor Spicer's question, council can say that they're allowing 3 accessory structures, but no, they put the restrictions on the 3rd accessory structure saying it cannot be covered. Can they do that,
Without
Valentina?
building permits.
Pardon?
Without permits, I mean, for sure. If they will ask for permits and they're allowed to build 3 buildings, so they can raise gazebo, whatever above it,
Well, it doesn't stop you from getting
Yeah.
permits.
it doesn't, they can go for
For
the
the
building permits
placement of
after
the
that.
hot tub. Or the shed.
So with the shed, there are 4 buildings.
No,
No,
No.
3.
3, garage, shed, and hot tub.
Yeah, the
It's
hot
a-
tub and the other building would share the same footprint, correct?
It's a
4 buildings. Garage, house, shed, hot tub.
principal dwelling and 3 accessory.
Right.
So that's 4. Principal dwelling and 3 accessory. So he's going for the 3 accessories allowed to. The 3rd accessory is your problem because the hot tub is seen as a structure, and the hot tub, you either approve it or you don't. And if you approve it, then they can get building permits.
But it is still have it.
So if you
So,
don't,
but if we put in there, you approve the placement of a hot tub with no additional structure on top of it, you're telling planning what can go there. That's the point I'm making.
Sue says no.
I-
Although the building nor the hot tub need a permit because they're under the 10 by 12, so they don't need a permit. But yeah, they still have to have the setback regardless. That's the rule.
Okay, so you could say, could you approve, Valentina, 3 accessory structures with no, all and give approval for the other 2 accessory structures, the variances, and the 3rd accessory structure, because the tub will still be,
Because the garage
because
isn't
you're gonna give it
50 feet
a,
either.
no, the tub is the problem.
The only reason why I'm asking the question is because this gentleman says in his letter that he's got some health challenges and the hot tub assists him with that. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, he's not disabled with leave, so he doesn't work from his template.
Okay, what is the wish, council?
So we're
Go
going to
ahead,
take some
Councillor Sutherland.
We really don't know for sure if that hot tub is on Mr. Choquette's property, do we? unless it's a survey.
It's not, it's not.
It's
That's-
close, it's just, it's not.
Jamie says it's close.
It's close, but it's not, I
It's
don't
not for
believe
sure?
It's a thing.
I don't believe it's on my property, it's just within that 15 feet sidewalk.
What is the wish council?
Yeah, I'll move on.
As it is, as we see the resolution up on the screen. Well, we have to come out of the
Yeah.
public hearing first, so.
Why is there reduced the side yard setback for the principal structure from 15 feet to 0 feet?
This is exactly the distance in between hot tub and the principal building. For, as we know it, it's 0.
Well, it's 3 feet between the hot tub and the house.
It's not something that we're aware of.
Well, see,
He's
there's
asking for 0.
too many questions
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Like it's,
You saw some survey map?
Go ahead,
With no
Scott.
information
I'm just
about
going
it.
by the sketch that's been provided to us, and it says 3.11 feet one way and 4 feet the other way in front of the house to the hot tub. That's what it says on the sketch. Right there.
That's the shed, this is the hot tub here.
Yeah, 4
And
feet.
he's saying 4 feet from the property line. 4 feet from the house.
4 feet from the house.
You know what, it might be our typo, the one who have done that report, so we can change it for sure for those 4 feet instead of 0.
So why can't the hot tub be moved back of the house?
And it's
That
gonna be
is the
access
back
to-
of the
And it's on
house. Is
his
that the side of the
property.
house?
That would be considered side lot, because
Is that,
if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here, Sue, the road would be to the bottom.
Yes, the road's here.
Yeah.
There's the road, this is the house, this is your property.
Right.
And he says he's 4 feet from the house here. And the reason he's got it here, I'm assuming, is because this is where his exit is to get to his hot tub. So he's
Yes.
got, the only thing you could impose is telling him to put it from 4 to 15. That's what you're requesting.
I guess we could do that.
Yeah.
But
On the, just like a page of email.
The only problem that we have, we do not know exact placement and measurements
we're
of the house according to the property line. We have no survey maps here establish it for sure.
But-
So maybe those 4 feet from the house, but the house is on
and then it says
neighbor's property.
Yeah, that's.
So it might be on 0, maybe that's why they ask for the 0, because they do not
Yeah.
know that by themselves, so, especially when the house is on.
these measurements are just from the applicant, right?
Yeah.
They're not from
Yeah,
anybody
not
who's
surveyed,
checked,
no,
yeah,
no.
so.
Yeah.
We cannot be sure.
I don't know, only a thought. I guess, as Valentina has said, there's been no surveys, no permits, no nothing.
There are maybe, but old ones,
Right, right, nothing
No,
current, and
right.
he's not applied for any building permits for the accessory structure. Would it be in order to perhaps pull this over and request him to get a survey of the property to find out exactly, or building
Building
locations,
location certificate.
to find out exactly where the buildings are?
for sure can do
You
that.
certainly can do that. My question to you, counsel, is what will, you're asking the applicant to incur a cost of doing a survey.
Right.
The survey is going to come back and tell you it's either 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever it is. Even if it's 6 feet, it's gonna need a variance from the 15 feet,
Right,
because there's absolutely no way this is
no.
15 feet from the property.
You can decide now.
So it's not gonna change the outcome. like a survey is not gonna change the outcome of making the decision for a variance. Whether it's a variance of 1 foot or 4 feet or 15.
Okay, what is the wish of council?
Can I ask
Go
Jamie a
right
question?
ahead.
I think you already said it, but what would work for you, or what wouldn't work? If something wouldn't work, or what, is there any, I just want your thoughts before I vote on anything.
My thoughts, and again, you folks can do with it as you wish, but my thoughts would be, if you would be with, maintain that 15-foot side lot line, I would be, I would be okay with that. But I guess, I don't want to create any undue hardship with this individual, if it's that extra, whatever it is, 15 or 20 feet between the house and where the hot tub is, for him, for therapeutic reasons. But like I said, my wish would be just to maintain that 15-foot side lot. But again, you folks can do as you wish.
So if that, so
Go ahead.
if that guy sells this property after, this is there forever now.
You?
So,
And the caveat on the house was already a permanent fixture
Yeah, forever.
with a few exceptions, right? And I purchased my property knowing that, if you've heard from somebody else here, that it was well known when the house was for sale. In all honesty, I don't know that Mr. Kezian understood what that caveat entailed. And again, through no fault of his own, whether it was a lack of communication or whatever it was, I can't say. But I don't think, because I know that Mr. Kezian and I had a number of conversations over the last, I don't know, he's been there 7 or 8 years. At one point, he talked to me about putting an addition on the house, and I said, well, that's until the caveat is cleared out, I'm sure the planning board's not going to approve such a thing. But again, like I said, whether it was, a misunderstanding or whatever, I don't know. But like I said, this information was there when he did buy the house.
Can I ask Jamie?
Go right ahead.
So if I'm looking at that sketch, based on what I see, you're talking about the hot tubs right here?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
There where that deck is
Yeah.
and so forth?
Yeah.
So it's blocked by the house already, which is
From my
already your
view,
property?
yeah, from my view, it is blocked from my view, yes, by the house.
Okay.
how many acres is your property?
I believe it's 2.48 acres.
Okay. It's up to council.
What is the wish? Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
Well, I like what Mr. Administrator had suggested about allowing the tub, but not the structure.
Okay, so if we have to change the resolution.
It's one of the purposes of walls, and it was a purpose walls.
Okay, so there's more to the story
Well, it just has walls, windows, and doors already.
Oh,
The
okay.
structure's built.
on the structure.
And on top of that, there was the stop work order. It's just,
Yeah.
it was ignored.
There was also renovations to the house without that without permits as well.
And he brought that building in, the last building was brought in without purpose. Is that right?
Yeah, there's no permits for what
No,
he's.
there's no need of terms for renovations inside the house. If there are any additions,
The last building he brought in.
The shed that he brought in, is it under 108 square feet?
No, it's 10 by 20.
10 by 20? Okay, that's too bad.
So that was done.
according to his,
Then he wouldn't need permits if it was under 108.
So what would be the applicant's recourse if council flat out denied it?
If you flat out deny this entire situation, he's gonna have, all Red River Planning can do is go there, investigate again.
Yeah.
Okay,
They will tell him to come into compliance because he's lost his non-conforming right. Because he's lost his non-conforming right, the only course of action will be to fill in the exact same application and come back here again for the exact same discussion. Because nothing will change. You can't move the 44-year-old building.
right.
The shed, although placed there without permits, is one of those structured sheds that the person bought, and it's within all the variance requirements. It's 40 feet from the property line side yard on the other side, so it's got no issues. So all it is an accessory structure. The hot tub has been put in there, so unless he's willing to move the hot tub, would be the only other one, because he's asking for a variance on the hot tub of 0 feet, or which is tucked away into that, beside that building. And then we have neighbors' issue of,
That's what I asked before, with moving the hot tub to put it into compliance with the side yards, if there's gonna be a place to move it.
you would have to go 15 feet.
Yeah. Well,
So from here, what it would look like, where's the measuring tool?
You would probably put it very close to the base of the tree that's right there.
Yeah, somewhere around here.
It comes a little bit further south. Bottom.
that's the only way I would,
And what are you suggesting, Councillor Sutherland?
it should be moved.
That the
The
hot
hot
tub
tub.
should be moved to fit the zoning
Yes,
bylaw?
that's the only way I would,
so you just take away the 15-foot side yard approval. So, is that how you do it?
If council wishes to approve in part, then what you'd be approving is, and Valentina, you're gonna help me with this one. Because what it'll have to be is, where am I here?
You allow the 3 structures, you allow the front yard, and you don't allow the side yard.
You
Which
would have
means he
to,
has to move it out to.
you would allow the number of structures, and you wouldn't allow the side yard, you would allow the third one. So you'd allow 2 to 3, you'd allow 50 to 5, so that takes care of the garage, and you wouldn't allow the 15 to 0. And that would say he's allowed to have,
You can table
The
it,
deck.
maybe ask for the applicant to come here to explain himself. George,
we're laid over.
maybe he will clear that picture for us too.
What is the wish, do you want to deal with it, taking out the third 15 feet to 0, and then the purpose is there, or do you want to hold it over after all this discussion and give him the opportunity to come to our next meeting? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Okay, so let's say we get rid of the 3rd side yard one.
Yes.
He's got his approval to have his hot tub, although it has to move. He doesn't like it, and he can fill out another variance form,
We're gonna
let's get
wait.
ourselves into it.
right?
Yes, we can.
That's an option.
Okay, so we can deal with it as it is, the resolution that's up on the screen, take out the third from and to, and as you say, Councillor Spicer, if he still wants that hot tub, he has to come back, reapply, and come back.
I mean, there's that option, or you'll hold it over, but I mean, I think we're gonna be having the same discussion if we hold it over, and I think we're having the same discussion if he does another variance application, so.
Yeah, and here's another problem, so we have the, you tell him he can't do that, he reapplies, now that building is still there, everything's still set there, right? Everything's still sitting there the way it is now, he comes back, we deny, or he applies, we deny it, and then who's gonna be there to tell him to take it down, or do it?
Right, or applying doesn't enforce it.
Enforcement.
Yeah,
The problem with him applying again is it's gonna cost him another $1,000.
But
Well,
the
it's our
other thing
time,
it's
yeah.
going to cost him is that he has to pay some outstanding fees. Would he not be fined for not getting any permits or anything?
It will be.
That'll be after the fact.
Yeah.
First, he has to meet the zoning.
Right, right. Okay, what is the wish? Are we moving forward or we'll move forward?
But we're taking out the third,
Yes.
I think
I'll
that
read
was-
it and see if council likes it.
Yeah.
but the hot tub is not on that, okay.
Okay, we have to come out of
We have
variation
to
board
close
first.
the public hearing. So, resolve the public hearing for variation order 133 of 2024 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds, all in favor, opposed, carried. And if you want to bring the resolution forward, please.
Okay. Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 416390 legally described as Lot 1, Plan 18681, located at 78012 St. Peters Road, has made application for variation order 133-2024 from the number of accessory structures 2, maximum 2 number of accessory structures 3, from front yard accessory structure 50 feet minimum to front yard accessory 5.25, from side yard 15 feet to side yard 0 feet. Purpose to, that's what he's requesting.
Right.
Purpose to increase the number of accessory structures on the property from 2 max to 3, reduce minimum front yard setback to accessory structure 50 to 5.2, and reduce the side yard setback to the principal structure from 15 feet to 0 feet in the RA suburban residential zone. Therefore, be it resolved the variation order 133 be approved with the following conditions. Be approved in part. Be approved in part with the following conditions. From number of accessory structures 2 to number of accessory structures 3, from front yard 50 feet minimum to front yard accessory 5.25 feet. That would be it. That would be it. And then this variance is limited to what has been presented by application replacement. So we're basically including that part in the approval. Therefore, be it resolved, be approved in part with the following conditions. And those are the 2 conditions that have been approved, and that the variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Having further changes, replacements, additions to require new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning, and approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of date of making. Does that work?
Okay. Can I have a mover? Councillor Strang, can I have a seconder, please? Oh, yourself, Councillor Bazarowicz moved it, Councillor Strang second. Any further discussion? Councillor Horvis, did you have a question?
so the way I understand this, or the way I would think it would work, he's gotta meet the first 2 requirements, right? And if he doesn't, the way I interpret this is, to get those variances that he needs, he has to take that hot tub over there. If he doesn't do that, then he shouldn't get the variances. No? I don't know, is that?
You can start the hot tub, but it's gotta be 15 feet from the side yard.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, yeah, I realize that, but
So this way you're giving him an approval, you're getting him back to somewhat of the non-conforming right he already had.
Okay.
And the only thing you have to fix, you fix two things. One was,
No, I realize that, I understand all that, I'm just saying, if he doesn't move this hot tub, and he just leaves it there, or whatever, he's still getting those two variances. And then that's when compliance would come in and step in and do
Yeah.
something. Okay.
so based on this approval, RPD would send him a note saying, you have been approved to have your hot tub, but it must be 15 feet from the property,
Okay.
there's no variance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can apply for another variance.
And come and get all your permits.
Yes.
That'll be a part of the letter too.
I just want to make it just clear so we all.
Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I was just gonna say, instead of having 15 feet, the side yard, the other one, the 15 feet, wouldn't, instead of the 0, wouldn't you put 15 feet there? So
No,
15 feet, 15
It's
feet?
the zoning bylaw,
Okay,
so you're not giving any variance off of the zoning bylaw.
bylaw, but just so he knows that he needs to be 15 feet to comply
Let
with
me
that.
fix it up just so you can all see what the variance would look like. So, okay, so this is what the variance is going to look like, the resolution.
He doesn't need the side yard on the house either.
Didn't
He
say.
doesn't need the side yard on the house either. Because the property line goes right through the house, so he can't meet
Okay,
setbacks for the
so,
house. But it should be ground cover. But it's just not meeting the setbacks of, it's just not meeting the setbacks of the building.
the house is already there.
So it's already approaching, right? So what's this big deal?
Okay. Just so council can see the resolution clearly. So there's what he applied for. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order be approved in part with the following conditions. Those are the two conditions from number of accessory structures 2 to 3. From front yard accessory 50 feet to front yard accessory 5.2 feet. That takes care of the garage. And that's it. So you can have 3 structures, but it's going to move it. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, 3 structures plus the house.
Plus the house, yes.
Yes. Yeah, 3 structures are accessory structures.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I have a mover, I have a seconder. Any further questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we are going to move on to number 14, I think it is on my
Okay. Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for bylaw 10 of 2024.
Okay, can I have a move, please? Councillor Strang, second Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we are going into our zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 10 of 2024. And Valentina, if you could walk us through that one, please.
For sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, this is zoning bylaw application, bylaw number 1024 on 1043 Kitson Road.
Excuse me, could you speak up a little bit, like, I can hear you.
Yeah, that we were saying
More
that.
than that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, okay, so it's involved a property on a 1043 Kitson Road, and the purpose of that application is to rezone a portion of the subject land from PR, Parks and Residential, Recreational Zone to RS, Service Residential Zone. So as you can see by the zoning, was the Parks and Recreation, and it goes to the Service Residential. Here we can see that exact portion from the property land as an area location map. And this is the portion of the subject property that proposed to be rezoned with a pink color on it. So our recommendation is should council approve the zoning bylaw amendment application, a conditional use application and approval is required to facilitate the development of multi-family residential units, which is a part of the applicant's stated intent. Subdivision application file number S243088 to separate the proposed developable area from the RM and facilities, daycare and office, and conditional use application file number 38/2024 to establish a multifamily development has been submitted by applicant as well. Based on analysis, agency's comments and information that we have, RPD concludes that proposed amendment application is generally consistent with development plan and secondary plan 2. Whatever further RPD recommends that this application could be approved. Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions to the planner for members of council?
Is that here?
Okay, this is a bylaw, and it will only be for first reading this evening, and if the applicant wishes to come forward, if you have anything to say, Alan, please do so.
Sure.
I'm sorry, we did first reading of this bylaw?
No, that's what we did that. This is the second reading.
Yes.
Second reading.
Oh, okay.
That's why we have public.
It prompts a public
Okay,
hearing.
yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I think just, I think I submitted a short presentation, I think earlier today, just for, it's one that I think council's familiar with. I think I discussed that with you guys earlier before, but just for respect for people in the audience that may be looking for additional information, I think I can just quickly run through it.
I'm going to ask you to speak up, please, Alan.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I found it, I'm about to bring it up. It's,
Yeah, so we are Shinko Properties, and so this is our proposal for this property. You can go to the next tab. So when we started to look at this property, you know, we started to analyze kind of what this property could be used for and how it can be used. So, you know, on the screen, there's a bunch of different things that we looked at. You know, what is the access to the site? You know, what is the policy? What are the adjacent land uses? How could this be phased? Does it need to be phased? What's the market considerations, infrastructure, that kind of stuff. So putting these considerations into mind is how we kind of build out our proposal. So you can go to the next tab. When looking at this property, we looked at a variety of different uses. Initially, we started with a mixed-use commercial site, with trying to do something with commercial on the main floor and maybe residential on top. You know, after looking at the market conditions and stuff like that, we didn't feel like that was a sustainable project. Moving to the next. Ultimately, we ended up with this proposed plan, which was subdividing the proposed property into two segments and then building a mixed multifamily on those two pieces then. Go to the next. So along with that comes a open house that we had. We had that, I believe it was September 12th. We had it at the hall. At that meeting, Yeah, we mailed about 120 properties, and only 6 people showed up for that public hearing. On the next. This is a copy of what we provided for information at that public hearing. We provided kind of a big poster board of what the proposed site plan was, as well as what the aesthetics would look like for the building, and why we felt like this was a good project for the community. From that point, we engaged with Superior Projects, which is a general construction company, to help kind of facilitate kind of the next steps. This is their team. Cindy Vermette will be the project manager that should be running this project. You know, if this project moves ahead, we have full faith in them and their ability to be able to not only construct the building, but also realize that we are in a bit of a sensitive area here. We have a daycare kind of right behind us. We have a school right there as well. So we would expect, as the contract holder to the subcontractor, that the site's going to be secure and that garbage is going to be maintained, and you know, this will become a secure site. Ultimately, this is where we settled on for our site plan. Again, we subdivided this existing property, and then we put 8 buildings on there. Our original plan was 4 buildings, but we realized that if we were to offset each individual building, you know, you can put an outside window on, and therefore create an extra bedroom. So that's kind of how we came up with that, and ultimately the overall build out of this site is 12 single-family, or 12 one-bedroom apartments, 16 two-bedroom, and 28 three-bedroom. Next. This is what it should look like from the exterior. We're still working on finishing colors and stuff like that, but this is what the building will look like from the front of it. Next. Yeah, the main floor will have 1 and 2 bedroom apartments on it. Again, it's actually, the 1 and 2 bedroom are actually the exact same footprint. The only difference is on an inside suite, the office doesn't have, we have to call it an office because there's no window, so therefore it's a 1 bedroom, but it's the same floor plan, same footprint, just not technically a bedroom. On the next. The second floor will all be 3-bedroom apartments. These are quite spacious, and we work really hard to try to create a functional living space because we know that this is primarily going to be families in here. So yeah, we spent a lot of time figuring out how can we create the most amount of functional space. I think that's the last slide. Yeah, so that was just kind of a quick overview of kind of where this project came from and how we got to what we have proposed today.
Okay, thank you for that, Alan. Any questions to the presenter from council? Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
2 questions. Are these going to be saleable or are they rentals?
They're going to be rentals.
Okay. The next question is parking. On the second floor, are they bigger because you don't have the garage? So what do you supply for parking?
I believe, so we did, so there's a bylaw on kind of what you guys are asking for like what the requirements are. I believe we have, I can't read it on my little paper here, but I believe we actually have more parking than is required.
Okay.
You can address it in the building permits afterwards.
Yeah, whatever the bylaw is, we've met that.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, if council has no more questions for Alan, I'm going to open it up if this is seen as this is a public hearing. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this proposal? Doesn't appear like there is. So what is the wish of council? You want to give this zoning bylaw second reading, please? Okay. We have to come out of...
Resolved that the public hearing for bylaw 10 be closed and a regular session of council will be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Bazarowicz, Councilor Sutherland seconds, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, if I could have a resolution to move this forward, please.
Resolved bylaw 10 of 2024 being a bylaw to amend the Arma St. Clement zoning bylaw 5 of 2002 as amended be given second reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Strang, second, please. Councilor Spicer. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Council would like to go third.
Okay. We can move this forward. If council wishes to give a third reading, I'll ask for the resolution, please.
Since there were no objections, we can move directly into third reading. Resolved that bylaw 10 of 2024 being a bylaw to amend the Arma St. Clement's zoning bylaw 5 of 2002 as amended be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Spicer, second, please. Councilor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, so now we are going to go to bylaw, oh no.
We're going into a combined hearing, Madam Mayor, of a subdivision and conditional use all at the same time.
Right, so we have to move into our adjourn the regular meeting and go to the public hearing, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolved, the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be opened for S24-3088 and conditional use 38 of 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Strang, Councilor Sutherland seconds, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, I think Valentina, how we're gonna do this is we're gonna let you present on both of them and then we'll move forward through there. So if you, and if you could speak up, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a subdivision application according to the rezoning that we before in SA 24-3088. Involves property on Kitson, 1043 Kitson Road. And the purpose of that subdivision is to separate the proposed developable area from the REM facilities that have already been established there into 2 new lots and residual lots in parks and recreation zone to be rezoned for now, so it's rezoned to a service residential zone. So this is the whole property, not only the portion that's being rezoned. And the west northern side of it, it's the facilities that are already there. And you can see here in application subdivision map that the northern part is the residual lot, proposed lot number 1. And the rest is lot number 2 and 3. That's supposed to be multi-families development there. So, as we can see in summary, lot number 1 that stays in a park and recreation zone comes with a compliance to the zoning law also. After rezoning, the 2 new proposed lots, lot number 2 and 3, also comes in compliance after rezoning being accepted. So our analysis is that a proposed lot 1 placed in PR zone and lot 2 and 3 are located in proposed to be zoned RS area, revised to residential zone. Future design approval will make a proposal consistent with the regular plan district development plan. And after circulation to the agencies, in hiring required easements, and Canada Post asked us to do some requirements for the post boxes there. And also the school division require 10% of the land too, so it will be in our conditions too. So RPD recommends that the application will be approved with those conditions, that by applicant to submit confirmation in writing from the Chief Administrative Officer of the municipality that taxes are not paid, required applicant fees will be paid, provide a digital copy of the plan. Also applicant to provide engineering design for roads, drainage, water and sewage infrastructure for a multi-family residence. Also, the planned subdivision must include public walking trail, public road, and by applicant to pay current utility bill and charges, and water sewer AMI lines should be extended between Kingston Road and East O'Connor Road along that main road, and to include a new fire hydrant. And also applicant to enter a developing agreement with RM and with conditions of it. And also a dedication of 10% of the land for the school subdivision. These are recommended conditions, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions to the planner on this application? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So there isn't really a whole lot of land to give up to the school division, so is there another option there, like?
Sorry, just figure out that I haven't got any conditions other than afterwards. Sorry for that. So the Manitoba Hydro and Sunderland has also required easements. Yeah, and by applicant to submit written confirmation from Canada Post of any request that they asked for, and also, of course, that portion of the property will be rezoned before we will approve that subdivision. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Scott. You're
So
asking.
can there be, instead of giving up 10% of the land to the school division, what's the other option that they would have?
Money.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is there anything else on the subdivision? Go ahead, Sue.
Sorry, I have two comments. One is precedent so far with council has been not to include the 10% to the school division. Also today, we were also supposed to be closing that public road. As you can see, the public road along the bottom is a funny shape, and the road is not built within that allowance. It was sent today to legal, and legal has said that the description of the road closing is not correct. However, we could proceed with that. I understand it's coming up or it's been passed. But we also added a condition to the subdivision in order to address that. Kayla's got it added on, so maybe she can reference it. I believe Deepak, you have it in your emails as well.
It's been put into my resolution,
Yes,
so it's in my resolution.
sorry, this wasn't in hers. Okay, thank you.
Is it being done today?
Okay,
Okay, so now we're not gonna deal with the subdivision at this moment. We're gonna let you go through the conditional use. And that is conditional use 38 of 2024. So if you could go ahead with that, Valentine.
For sure. Thank you, Madam. So this is a conditional use 38 2024 on the same property. And the conditional use is to establish a multi-family development in a already rezoned reserved residential zone. So for now, after the zoning, multi-family is allowed there. And this is the same map, same property. I think, yeah, we saw that in applicant presentation already, that the site plan from the future development, our conditions for that, a conditional use should council wish to approve this application, a standard that is limited to what been presented, any other changes will require new approval and by applicant to obtain all required permits from us and municipality. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions on the conditional use portion for the planner? Go ahead.
just for clarification, I think on the, in the report for the conditional use, it shows the diagram that is the older diagram for the buildings. No, where you were right there,
Okay.
because that's really 8 buildings now, isn't it? Instead of 4 the way it looks there. Because there's a space in between, so.
That's correct.
So I just want to make sure council is aware of that. That's all. So it's slightly different than what the report shows, but
Yeah, we'll have
the presentation was made.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions to the planner on are we gonna get an update on the
The presentation is part of the official package as well, but just because of council's looking at this, just so you understand what you're approving what their request is, which is 8 buildings separated out.
It's the same site plan, just we split the buildings just to be able to get those outside windows. We also offset the split so that way it doesn't create a wind tunnel across the property. I'm sure if you wanted to see it, we could go back to that presentation, but it's the same density, it's the same thing, just now there's the separation.
Deepak's gonna pull up.
There they are.
new-
Same parking lots?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same parking as you can see on the site plan. Oh, there it is.
If anything, it may have created an extra space just
So that's-
due to that offset, but
Okay.
So
regardless,
if
it'll,
you notice
when the
between-
building permit gets applied for, it'll meet the bylaws for that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, as you can see, the offset that he's talking about, this is the space here.
You got a quick shot.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's.
So this is the breezeway here, and a breezeway here, breezeway here, and a breezeway here.
Yeah, I think we were actually able to add an accessible parking spot in those locations.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
So just to keep in mind, so we understand that we are a rural community here. We're also looking at, family housing for 3-bedroom. We understand that in rural communities, people need vehicles. It's really difficult to have a 1-car family. Our site has been designed to try to maximize the most amount of parking as we can get.
Okay, any other questions for the planner? Okay, on the subdivision and on the conditional use, Alan, did you have anything further that you wanted to add at this point?
I'm happy to run through the same presentation for a second time. If you like.
I think we're all good.
I got nothing new to add.
Okay, so then I'm gonna ask for a resolution to close the public hearings on those two. Wait, I should ask though, is there anybody else who wishes to speak on these 2 applications? Okay, Horst is good, Jamie's good, so we can bring forward a resolution.
Sorry, the only comment I'd like to make,
Sure.
and I can't remember what condition it was, but on the 10% dedication to the school, you're totally right. If we had to give up that much space, that would completely change the entire project.
Right, yeah, so we'll figure it out somehow or other if we can give them, or monetary consideration rather than land.
I think what's, as Sue had mentioned, that hasn't been something that's exercised. It's a request that normally comes out from the school division. It works significantly well in the urban areas, but it's not really been exercised that much in the rural.
Well, and even just to piggyback off it as well, most of our development is done in rural areas. We've never had that exercise on us either. I mean, normally we'll work with school divisions if there's like a bus location pickup spot or something we can do with them on that, but typically dedication isn't a requirement.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Yeah, I think, I'm just looking at what's around here. I mean, there's 2 schools across the street, doesn't make much sense to leave that in there, in my opinion.
Maybe a nice pathway through there to the school.
My recollection was originally when the school boards in the province put that regulation in, it was to allow schools, when there were large subdivisions occurring, to have a site that would be available for the schools to use. And usually when the developer left that 10% or that school site, usually the province wouldn't have the capacity to build a school, then it was converted back and given back to the developer. And so now in Winnipeg,
In or take it out?
well, now in Winnipeg, they have to identify future school site and could be multifamily, because they usually get turned into multifamily afterwards. So that people that are moving into the area know that it could be a school or it could be something completely different. But that's not gonna happen in this case.
Okay, if there's nothing further regarding the subdivision or the conditional use, I'm gonna ask for a resolution to close those two hearings, please.
Resolved that public hearing for S 24-3088 and conditional use 38-2024 be closed and regular session of council be reconvened.
Okay, so we'll proceed with the, oh, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Bazarowicz, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, if you could bring forward the resolution for the subdivision, please.
Regarding subdivision application number S 24-3088, proposal of Shinko Properties Development, Inc. to subdivide parcel A plan 9229. Resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the municipality stating that A, taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision of the Arma St. Clements. D, applicant owner provide an engineer design for roads, drainage, water and sewer infrastructure for the multifamily residents. The drainage plan should include on-site water retention and limit post-development peak runoffs to pre-development flows in accordance with the Manitoba Provincial regulations. Water and sewer main lines should be extended between Kitson Road and Strathwater Road along the unnamed road and to include a new fire hydrant. E, the plan of subdivision is to include the following. 1, public park walking trail to be shown as public reserve. 2, public road planned 4D5022 be named prior to registration with TerraNet. F, road naming has been approved as per the road naming policy 3024. G, portion of the road identified in the subdivision application stamp as public road to be closed under the Municipal Act and consolidated with the proposed Lot 2. That's the extra one that we put in. H, applicant owner to pay current utility buy-in charges for proposed lots 2 and 3. I, applicant owner enter into a development agreement with the Arma St. Clements to address items including but not limited to if required. 1, engineered design for roads, drainage, water and sewer infrastructure. 2, letter of credit for drainage road and municipal water and wastewater infrastructure conditions. 3, administration fee, capital development fees, road levy, utility buy-in fees. 4, secure connection and construction of a water and wastewater services for proposed lots 2 and 3. 2, applicant owner dedicate up to 10% of land being subdivided to the Lord Southampton School Division. So I'm assuming council doesn't want that in there.
I would say take it out, that's just my opinion.
Okay, then I'll be going to 2, which is applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas Manitoba Inc. that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro and Central Gas Manitoba Inc. with respect to existing and future facilities associated with a subdivision of plan of easement as required of the Real Property Act has been provided. Registration of this agreement will be included as a condition of the final certificate of approval. And 4, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Canada Post that on-site mail delivery requirements have been met. And 5, that the portion of the property is rezoned to RS Service Residential as proposed in the zoning bylaw, amendment application 10 of 2024. So that was, did I say those numbers all wrong again? Okay. So that would have been 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3.
Right. Okay. The resolution is on the floor, so if I can have a mover, please. Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And then I believe we need to do the conditional use application.
Yes, we do. Apologize for the numbering. As you know, I struggle. It's still not my first language. So Okay, so the next is the conditional use resolution. Whereas applicant owner of tax roll number 442500, property legally described as parcel A, plan 9229 and located at 1043 Kingston Road, has made application for conditional use 38 of 2024 to seek approval for a multifamily development in the RS service residential zone to be rezoned from PR zone. Therefore, be it resolved, conditional use application number 38 of 2024 be approved with the following conditions. 1, the conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require legal approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months date of making.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second, please. Councillor Spicer, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
So now comes the other part, Madam Mayor, which is closing of the public road. So we'll be proceeding with it, as Sue had mentioned earlier, we'll be proceeding with the closing of the public road, but we'll only be doing the first reading, and the second and third reading will not be done today until we've corrected the legal description.
First reading's already complete, it's just the
Or
public hearing.
just a public hearing, sorry.
So we're just going to do the public hearing
Just a public
today,
hearing,
then?
but then we won't be making a decision on the second reading and third reading.
Okay.
We'll lay it over till next meeting.
Okay, so we're just having a public hearing. Do we have to move into a board?
Yes.
Okay, bring that forward then, and
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for bylaw 9 of 2024.
can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowic, second Councillor Strang, all in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And who is speaking to us?
We did this closing, so I guess I'm speaking to it. So,
Thank you.
we have a report from community planning that basically said that they didn't have any major issues with this. What the situation here is, Madam Mayor, is that, let me bring up the road, and what happened was that many years ago since this was on municipal land, it was never corrected as to what the physical structure of the road was not where the legal outline of the road existed. And so since this is on municipal land, it wasn't a big concern as to squaring out this land. Now that it's being subdivided, it's appropriate to adjust this road and to name it. And so we will be looking at adjusting the road to straighten out the road to be consistent to what has actually been constructed there. And the remaining lands, so if I zoom in a little further here, I want to make sure that council understands. If you saw the previous application, it rezoned only the lands that were legally described there. So this other portion will, once it's closed, will automatically be attached to the property adjacent, and it absorbs the zoning and conditional use that already exists on that land.
Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowic.
So do we physically have to rebuild that road?
No.
No? Okay.
Councillor Spicer.
So, the road has no name now. So, it's named when we reopen the road,
Correct.
correct? Thank you.
Go ahead, Sue.
So we did talk to Terranet about the situation. Terranet is land titles, Winnipeg Land Titles now. They said we could close the close the road by bylaw, and it would be reopened by the subdivision. I did check with insurance as well to see that in the meantime, if they don't get registered, we are covered for insurance if anything happens on those roads. So they've been notified. And we need to proceed tonight, we can with the public hearing, but like he said, second and third, because of legal description, needs to be changed. Thank you.
So the subdivision will be registered, and so council has a policy on road naming. So once second and third reading has occurred on the road closing, when the subdivision has been registered, we can at that point rename that road.
It's a part of the registration. Right?
We can just, we can pass a bylaw to name that portion of the road. And then when it gets registered, the name will be registered with that subdivision. So theoretically, council, once you've done second and third reading and the closing, you could pass a bylaw for the new road that's going to be opened under subdivision that will be named such and such road. So we'll pass a bylaw for naming of that road. I think our policy allows us to name roads by bylaw.
The issue is that it gets registered.
Okay, so we'll name it under the registration.
That's correct, the registration of the subdivision.
We'll have to pass a resolution to council for naming the road. Unless council wants to pass that resolution today.
Okay.
Does council want to pass the resolution to
Yeah,
name that road
yeah.
today?
Yeah.
Can do it today? So it's taken care
As
of?
long as we don't have to advertise it.
No, we didn't have to advertise when we created reconciliation.
What's the wish?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do it.
Okay. Let's create a button, let's create a resolution now. So first, let's finish with this. So we've done the public hearing on this, so I guess the questions are if anybody has anything to say at this public hearing.
right, and that's to close the road.
Correct.
Okay, so I will ask if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on bylaw number 9, which is to close the municipal road. No, it doesn't appear that way.
Okay,
So
so we'll
we
close
can
the
close the
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
Resolved that the public hearing for bylaw 9 of 2024 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a move, please? Councillor Strang, second Councillor Bazarowicz, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And we'll be bringing second and third reading to the next meeting of council.
Correct.
Or
I remember that.
either the next meeting or the meeting following.
Next planning.
Next president. Could be a regular meeting.
Yeah. If you're gonna be short of council members, so.
Yeah, we should.
It'll be four.
So we
Whatever
can
the
have
board
all-
does.
Okay. Valentina, go ahead, sorry.
The rest subdivision that we have not require public hearing, so can we have that 5 minutes recess?
Yes, we can have a 5-minute break, thank you. Heather, do you want to
I'll
just?
start off.
Yeah, please.